That ending really cracks me up. So this is Lana Waganet. Welcome to the Youth Climate Show. I am here with Jane Unchained News. I'm also the co-founder of Cultivate America and an organizer with Youth Climate Save. And today we'll be hearing from amazing young people who have been involved in different forms with the campaign for climate-friendly food at the UN Climate Conference, which is, of course, the leading climate conference in the world. So I'm really excited. And first, we're going to hear from Mansha, who has been really involved with the organizing team of this campaign, really making this campaign run. So I think she'll be able to give us a little bit of good background and stuff to get started here today. Welcome, Mansha.
Hi, Lana.
Hi, so excited to have you. Take it
Sorry?
away. So excited to have you join us. Take it away.
It's so cool to be here. Thank you. All right, so Food a Cup is a wonderful youth-led grassroots campaign that's full of a diverse group of wonderful people from all over the world, in fact. And we've all come together because we believe that the United Nations Conference of the Parties needs to, lead by example and make their catering plant-based to show the world how important it is that we acknowledge the role of our food systems in the climate crisis. So it's indubitable that the food systems are ingrained in are ingrained in our day-to-day life, and they're a significant part of our relationship with the environment and our surroundings and our own communities. So what we eat on our plate is directly a consequence of how we interact with the environment and the land that it comes from. And it's quite unfortunate to see that this significant relationship has not been significantly acknowledged in global policy, and in encouraging the United Nations to lead by example and themselves place importance on catering plant-based food. We can show the world that we're taking this seriously and that it's important that we take action, and we can change the world if we change what's on our plates as well. So Food a Cup specifically has been working with elevating youth voices around the world who agree with our philosophy for plant-based food and how important it is to demonstrate this to the world. Our most recent campaign, #Food for Our Future, was launched on International Youth Day, which is the 12th of August. So it was launched quite recently, but even so, we've had an overwhelming amount of support from youth all over the world, from all 6 populated continents, from a tribal district in Pakistan to various countries in Latin America and the African continent and even Europe in various languages. And it's wonderful to see the kind of support we've had all over the world. And this is extremely important to a campaign such as this, which is all about the planet and how we as a race can improve our relationship with the environment around us. And specifically, we're imploring the United Nations to, at their conference of parties, to offer plant-based catering, because studies have shown over even a large period of time, actually. I think one of the earliest studies I've read is 10 years old, and the same information has been perpetuated through more recent studies, that the effects of rearing large amounts of animals for animal products, especially ruminant animals, for those of you who don't know, which are cattle, sheep, which are party to the release of a significant amount of carbon emissions, which in turn drives climate change and is extremely detrimental to our environment and our climate. Thus reducing these contributions by reducing our approach to our own diets can significantly improve our relationship with the environment and ensure that we have a much more sustainable future. And that is one of the principal ideas driving us and all the people around the world who support us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really great to hear from you, Mansha. And I'd just love to hear some more about how you got involved in this work and why you think it's so important.
Oh, okay. So me personally, I'm always looking for ways to get involved within climate movements. And more recently, I've started looking at campaigns, and I know Lana from college, actually. So I was actually able to join this campaign through her, which is really great because I met a lot of wonderful people. And my primary role is to create content that can be shared to promote our ideas and educate everyone on all the wonderful research that's out there. So that's the work. That's what I do. And I personally am a big believer in the impact that we can have on the climate movement by moving towards more plant-based diets. So I'm really glad that I can contribute by, by increasing the amount of awareness that other people have about this important part of the climate crisis and engaging with the global community on the same idea, because that's what's important. It's the collective international community that can step forward and make a change.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. I just put in the comments links to our Instagram and our Twitter. So you can all check out the amazing work and the graphics Mansha's been making.
Thank you. Yeah, please be sure to check that out. There's a lot of wonderful content that we've released. Check out all our videos and all the youth voices and why they believe that why they believe they support the campaign. And if you agree with our philosophy, please be sure to sign our petition, share it, and keep talking about how important food is to our health and the health of our planet, because it's all connected.
Definitely. I just linked the petition in there as well, so everyone can check that out. And I'm going to go to Pramisha next. Thank you, Mansha.
Thank you.
Hi, Lana.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Amazing. I'm so excited to hear from you.
Yeah. Mansha has covered almost all the parts, so I'm wondering what to cover now. But let's start. Yeah, let's start with my personal story. I come from a culture where the majority of the food that we eat in family is plant-based, and when I grew up, I became quite surprised to see the diet culture of other countries where the majority of the diet used to come from animals. And until then, I knew nothing about climate change and used to connect the meat and dairy culture of Western world with their tradition and higher purchasing power in order to gain more protein. I used to think that, and I was too naive to understand the impacts that were resulted due to animal-based diet. So when I got enrolled in university for my undergrad in agriculture science and started to get involved in different organizations, I started to know about various dimensions of climate change. And despite the impacts that climate change was posing to agriculture, I became quite shocked to know that around 29% of greenhouse gases emissions is from the agriculture sector, including a large share of animal agriculture. This is quite disturbing, right? And also, 70% of the world's land is used to grow feed for animals, which would ultimately be consumed by humans, and it is also leading to soil damage and desertification. And I used to think that what about growing plants in those lands that would be directly eaten by humans? We have less resources where the number of hungry mouths are increasing day by day. And since it is predicted that the population would rise to 9.8 billion by 2050, and also, moreover, the concerns of animal rights and animal rights severely being destroyed in factory farms, it's quite scary, as we all know. And in some places and communities, there is no choice of food other than eating meat or fish. But in the West, people are eating too much than recommended, despite having all other alternatives. And the latest Eat Lancet report also shows that the trend of eating animal sourced food is not sustainable at all. And these are all the facts. And we also listened a lot of opinions and facts from the young people in our recent video campaign, but there were fewer discussions on climate agriculture nexus in policy levels. So I became quite hopeful when the Coronavia joint work on agriculture under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was started after the 23rd Conference of Parties, where the countries agreed to work together to make sure that agriculture development ensures both increased food security in the face of climate change and reduction in emissions. And there were several topics, including livestock and food security dimensions. So I'm hopeful about the implementation aspect too, but the major part and our major irony is that a conference which negotiates on climate change issues has problems in its cafeteria itself, right? And if you are vegan or vegetarian or those who eat plant-based mostly and have been to UN climate change conferences, you can relate it so easily that you can't get the real proper food there. Most of them are animal-based, and you can choose only over one or two dishes that are plant-based. So this is ironic, disturbing, and something needed to change. So I was very happy with amazing youths, including Lana, Mansha, Silke, Caroline, and other young people started the Food at COP campaign for pushing more plant-based diets in the cafeteria of climate change conferences. And someone needed to start the conversation, and you did it with very amazing responses. And currently, the campaign is doing videos, as Mansha just said, and also there is a petition campaign ongoing. So hopefully, we could see the change where we come across COP26 in the UK. I'm very hopeful for this. And the campaign is currently under YONGO, which is official children and youth constituency to the UNFCCC. And everyone is supporting it because people can personally relate to this with their experiences, and it would not have been possible if there is no support. And we are hoping for 5,000 petitions. Now currently there are around 3,000. So we need to acknowledge that the campaign is advocating for true purpose. And yes, we need systemic change towards changing our diet culture and raising livestock sustainably. As I'm speaking this, I also say that we all don't need to be vegan, 100% vegan and vegetarian to protect the planet now, but we can start by little, for example, like start reducing animal-based diets in your plate, know the source of your food, and make your diet as sustainable as possible. For example, eating imported soybean versus eating homegrown local chicken, which was not feed antibiotics. We need to make ethical choices as much as we can. And we don't need to push ourselves very hard on this and develop eco-anxiety, but small steps by large masses really matter. And this campaign is playing a huge role on this. And it's also on the consumer path, but there are corporations who make big money out of this. So we need a radical change and transformation on this path too. And we need to ensure just transition to those people who are working in these industries, and we need acts, rules and regulation, proper rules to ban the factory farming practices. And also I'm to tell that the UN Food System Summit is happening next year in 2021, and I'm so hopeful about the pertinent results that this summit would also bring through in this topic. Yeah, that's all. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that through the video campaign, we have seen that even people who aren't personally plant-based or vegan yet can totally get behind the idea of what we're supporting. And Pramisha, you have a lot of experience with the UN, I think especially Yango. Do you think this is possible?
Sorry, Lana, can you repeat the question?
Do you think, based on your experience, that this campaign could be successful?
I think yes, if we can push as much as we can, because not only we are talking and spreading the messages in social media. I know you guys are also keeping in contact with the COP26 Secretariat and yeah, and doing the part from our side. So as much as we lobby and as much as we bring more people in it, it will be successful, and we should be hopeful.
Thank you, Pramisha, and I'll encourage everyone to get involved as well. There's some links in the comments there. Thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next, we'll be hearing from Omnia, who is been doing amazing work with. She'll tell us more about the International Federation of Medical Students Associations and a special survey that they did. So I'll hand it off to you.
Perfect. Can you hear me well?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So hi everyone, I'm Omnia Ramrani. I'm a final year medical student from Cairo, Egypt. And I've been with the International Federation of Medical Students Association, the IFMSA. I've been working with them for the past 6 years, and I'm mainly their focal point, the liaison officer for public health issues, for all the advocacy work that our organization does in climate change, planetary health, and mental health. So basically, I'm representing more than 1.3 million medical students from 140 countries around the world. And every year for the past 10 years, we've been going to the climate change conference as an IFMSA delegation of at least 10 medical students from all 5 continents. And this year, when we were going to Madrid, we realized one of our inspiring delegates from Australia, she saw that the IFMSA delegation in 2010, so 10 years ago, they did a survey where they assessed whether health is important and relevant to the UNFCCC negotiations and discussions. So we thought about, okay, we need to see whether there has been an increase in that level of attention or care or not. So we decided to redo the survey 10 years later, 9 years later, actually in 2019 in Madrid. But we decided that we also wanted to focus more on food sustainability because we've seen how, for example, over the years, there has been the Cornegio workshop and the discussions related to agriculture. And as well as we recognize how in terms and from a health perspective, how now more than ever our food systems are vulnerable and are threatened, and this will lead to malnutrition, which is expected to be the top most life-threatening health impact of climate change. So we decided to see and assess the level of awareness, the level of care of the attendees of COP. So we distributed a survey. We had 278 responses from 84 countries. They were a combination of delegates and UN delegates from specialized agencies, party delegates from countries, as well as other NGOs and non-governmental organization representatives. And based on our survey, we first of all asked, do you think health is important when it comes to the UNFCCC and the climate change discussion? And this was the question that was asked 9 years ago, and we saw that there has been a statistically significant increase, and more people now think about health and think that it's important within the negotiations. And then we started asking a little more, and we asked the participants whether they think that dietary practice is important to the agriculture negotiation, because we think that it's not just about the way the food production and the agriculture and the food waste and so on. It's also important to think about dietary change. And we saw that many of the participants, including farmers and individuals from low middle income countries, they said that dietary practice is almost as important as food production practices in the UNFCCC negotiations, which shows that it's important to think about our own lifestyle, to think about how our diets are practiced when we think about agriculture and the carbon impacts and footprint of agriculture. And we also try to introduce a new concept, which is the Eat Lancet Planetary Health Diet. And this has been a commission that was designed by the Eat Foundation and the Lancet, which is one of the biggest research journals in the world. And they created a planetary health diet, a planetary health plate, which we introduced our participants to the survey to. And we asked them whether they will be willing, after learning about the planetary health diet, will they like to adopt this diet or not. And actually, we only found that less than 40% of the delegates knew about the diet. However, even more people were more likely to develop that kind of diet once they learned about it. So this is a good sign. And that is why we decided to analyze our results. And after we finished our analysis, we actually published the survey in the Lancet Planetary Health Journal. And the main reason why this has been really important for us, because we had 3 concrete call to actions that we wanted everyone to know, especially when it comes to the UNFCCC and the COP26 presidency, as well as all the relevant stakeholders. Our 3 calls to actions, the first one is that we wanted health as well as food systems to be central when countries are doing their own national climate plans. They need to think about their food systems and the agriculture and prioritize it the same way that they do with finance, with loss and damage and other aspects within the national climate plans or the NDCs. The second call to action is to make sure that when it comes to the negotiations that go around agriculture, they don't just talk about food production, food waste practices. They need to talk about dietary change. It has to be of equal importance. And last but not least, we called on the UNFCCC to cater all the events according to the planetary health diet, which is on its own has the least carbon footprint. And we saw how the UNFCCC should not be it should not be the rule, the constant events that have these food waste, and they should not be that. They should be the exception. They should lead the change when it comes to all the events that take place within the UN, within the world, and they need to cater a plant-based diet, which is really why IFMC joined the Food at COP working group in Yongo, which has been doing incredible advocacy work. And we're really, really hopeful that COP26 would be the first climate change conference to serve plant-based diet, because now more than ever, COVID-19 has exposed the vulnerability of our food system. Now it is really threatened more than ever due to the health, economic, and other social impacts that COVID-19 has shown. So it is important to prioritize our health. It is important to think about our food systems and protect it, and think about the environment as well as the health of our own, and place it as a priority, especially when we're thinking about a post-COVID world. And we really believe that COP26 will be the place to do that. With the help of so many stakeholders, we will see that happening next year. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful hearing from you and hearing directly about the survey. I know I've been checking that out, and we shared some information about that too on our socials at Food at COP.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me.
Great having you join. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly show a little bit of our petition, for example, and some of the other sites that you should check out. So as you can see here, we're almost at 3,000 signatures for the campaign, and the next goal is 5,000. So if you haven't gone to change.org/climate-friendly-food, definitely check that out. Quickly sign, share if you can as well. And we have some more information here too on why this is so important and why we need this to be signed. So definitely check that out, and also check out our social media. It's at Food at COP on both Instagram and on Twitter. So it's super simple, and it's just like food and at COP. And this is a little bit of what it looks like. And I just want to show you some of the amazing graphics, for example, that Mansha has been working on, and some of the videos that we have from around the world. So if you scroll down, you can check out the voices of young people from around the world, and you can check out more information, such as here. This is another graphic made by Mansha. And you can check out some of our organizational endorsements, including from Greenpeace International, for example, from Friends of the Earth, a lot of major organizations. And also we have Twitter as well, which is at the same login. If you're more of a Twitter user, definitely check that out there. It's also the same name. And you can also endorse with your organization, and I can include that link again in case you missed it earlier. So if you happen to lead an organization, definitely sign on here with the link that I'm sharing in the comments, and then we'll share a graphic all about you and your support as well. So definitely check out that resource. And I'm just going to end once again by sharing the same video to finish this off for anyone who missed it in the beginning, and be sure to check out the links that are in the comments. Thank you all so much for joining today.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Gulugulu.
Hi, I'm Linnea.
I'm Alexander.
Hi, I'm Svea.
Mein Name ist Maria Cláudia.
Je m'appelle Barthélemy Mwanza.
Hallo, ich bin Silke aus Deutschland.
Kwa majina naitwa Kevin Lunzalu.
Oi, meu nome é Pedro, eu sou do Brasil.
Hi, I'm Veronica Mulenga, and I'm a climate and environmental activist from Zambia.
I'm here to show my support for the Food at COP campaign.
For and on behalf of Food at COP.
Apoyamos la campaña de Food for COP.
多的人开始关注健康的饮食习惯。
Addressing our food systems is an important and necessary step when discussing climate change.
Unsere CO2-emissionen verringern.
En del av problemet är köttproduktionen och boskapsmatproduktion som står för ungefär halva av dessa utsläppen och 80% av världens avskogning.
Ya hay estudios que están demostrando que la industria de la carne y la láctea emiten más gases de efecto invernadero que la industria del transporte.
Animal agriculture is one of the leading contributors to the most serious environmental problems at a scale from local to global.
Plant-based food contributes the least carbon emissions. Switching to a plant-based diet is one of the best things you could do to reduce your carbon footprint.
Sobre alimentação baseada em frutos, legumes e vegetais. Esse tipo de alimentação é crucial para a luta anti-poluição e destruição do planeta.
Considering a change to plant-based foods in all events of climate change.
We are also fighting and pushing for plant-based diets within the conference of the parties meeting.
Findest du nicht auch, dass bei Klimakonferenzen auch ein klimakompatibles Essen angeboten werden sollte?
I mean, let's just start like this. Why would you eat a cow if you can also eat like berries, you know, like here, getting some of these guys, yeah? These are really, really tasty, and yeah, making more plant-based for the future.
Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today for the Youth Climate Show. This has been Lana Wagenet with Jane Unchained News, and also from the organizations Cultivate America and Youth Climate Save. Hope y'all have an amazing Saturday and a great weekend.